and it's going down, negative Dow theory. We see, however, on the MACD here, and actually we saw this here, and I think this is why exactly it's going to play out like this soon, but you can see here though, it's best with the RSI, I think, personally, but nonetheless. You can see, however, that this is a little higher than this one. This corresponds to that. This over here corresponds to that, right? It's a little difficult sometimes to think about, like, but how far back do you go? It has to reside a little bit on intuition and just having seen the markets for a while. Generally speaking, though, the last few significant peaks, that sort of thing. I know so. But if you were to see, though, in a negative bear, in a bear market, something like that, this is a positive divergence to see that the last high, even though it was lower than that one, the last high is higher than the other one, right? As a positive divergence, it shows that there is momentum or strength building in the markets, right? Again, don't read into it too much. It's just one indicator among many, but it's something to be aware of. Same thing you can see with the RSI. A negative divergence is the opposite. Let's say that it shows a weakness in the market. Let's say that, if we go back here, right, and you see this high is higher than that high, that sort of thing, right? But then you look at the MACD, here it is, right? You can see pretty clearly it's flattening out. It's much lower. Again, I think the RSI is better for this, but as an example, right? It's flip-flopped. All of a sudden, the highs here where like they should be, if it was a healthy market, should be higher than the other one before, is now lower. Shows a weakness. All right, so there's that. Yeah, the RSI is, I think, definitely better for it than the MACD. The MACD is a little different, but it's still a momentum indicator, still kind of works. Okay. And then to give a couple ideas here, and then we're going to watch a video really quickly, but so just the last couple things here. So there are specific candle patterns that you can look out for. We'll see, let's see here. I spelled that wrong. Okay. So here's this one. Let's see if we can. Where is this? So I'm looking for the. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. Maybe this will work now. Oh my god. So this is a bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Can you get out of that? Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. Oh god. There it is. Alright. Alright. Alright, there it is. Okay. So this is called an abandoned baby. Sometimes it means something, sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. Alright, just be aware of it. So this one is bullish. When you see, something, generally speaking, you can see it coming down here. This is a reversal pattern, as we say. So the recent trend for it being bullish, right, is it's coming down, and it doesn't have to be. It shouldn't have to be like it has to be like green and then red, but sometimes there's variances like that. Point is though is that you see a candle that's long, and then there's this one over here detached, and then you see the next one as being also like larger body and also detached, right? And that can sometimes signal a reversal. Same thing for the bearish case, where we're coming up to it here, totally detached, small body, and then also detached, larger body, continues down. So there's that as an example. And then there's long-legged doji, which is small body like this too, and the wicks are really long, and that just shows indecision. The market wasn't totally sure what to do at that moment. And then you can see the resumption out of there in this direction. It's like, okay, well, it made its mind up, that sort of thing. And then there's other ones too, and this is the last one. We'll just look at this. So rising wedge. Oh gosh. There it is, okay. All right, so this is a good example right here. I can't, honestly, maybe I can do. Does that help? Okay, a little bit. All right, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so as you can see right here, right, it's coming down. Here's this rising wedge. You can see it starting to narrow. It breaks down from that, right? This would be a bullish rising wedge, and then the bearish case is just flip-flopped, right? This is the rising wedge, and then the well, that's a falling wedge, I should say. But generally speaking, though, the falling wedge will be more bullish, right? At least in the case that it's being followed, or sure, I should say, preceded by you know, a downturn in the markets, right? It's starting to narrow and breaks above. That's the more important part, because maybe this does vary like that. You can have a falling wedge on something that's bullish, right? And it still breaks above here. So it depends on like the context, but in the very least, it's a narrowing of, you know, the support and resistance lines, and the breaking shows you what the next direction should be approximately. So just as a perspective. Okay, last thing here, we're talking about simple moving averages. There's also the exponential moving averages. We don't have to worry about those ones. It's kind of the same thing, so don't really worry about it. Let's say, okay. Let me go ahead and put in, let's find it here. There it is. All right. This is 5, but let's say instead, let's do, the classic ones are 50, 100, and 200. Okay. Moving averages. Okay, so you can see the lines here, right? Hopefully this is a little, yeah, let's do something actually. Tesla, okay. Also, by the way, if you look at Tesla's, like, here, let me just look at it now. You see this? How it's like a fucking right angle? That never happens. That is not healthy at all. That is horrible to look at. That is not at all normal. Okay. It's bad again, a bubble. So you can see the 200-day here, if you can, it's right here. You know, 200-day, 100-day right here is in the orange, and then there's the 50 right here. So these things more so classically act as helping to find periods of, or places, I should say, of resistance or of support. You know, the 50 is more well known. The 200-day can also help. The 100-day is like probably the least known used. So there's that. Just to give you guys an idea. And then sometimes, you know, you have bearish crossovers when the 50-day goes below the 200, you know, that sort of thing. That's a thing too. Okay. And then here it is. All right. Here's the video. Come on. Okay. Let's find really quickly the part here, and it's okay. 350.
Following VAR patterns. First, the obvious one is that we have more bull.
You know the big problem with trading courses? Buying trading courses can be very expensive, but
Bars than bear bars. When we see this on our charts, this means that the bulls have more power and are increasingly moving the market upwards. Also, we will see consecutive bull bars. Consecutive bull bars is a clear indication of a bullish momentum. In a bull market, the green bodies are bigger than the red bodies. When we see this on our charts, that's a signal that the bulls have more strength than the bears. Also, during a bull-controlled market, we will see the green bars closing near their highs. This suggests a good momentum to the upside, because the bulls are trying to maintain the prices higher. We will also see a lot of wicks below the green bars. This also represents a good signal that the bulls are in control of the market, and that they are trying to push the prices upwards. When we see the green bodies getting bigger, this signals a clear bullish momentum.
Okay, and there's that bit, and that's looking at, right, again, as you would want to say, the price action and how exactly it actualizes what's going on, right? If there is support for something going up, right, you can see those sort of things. I'll have this video linked down in the description below, but that's a pretty general basic take on looking at a market and trying to understand it, right? If there is a lot of support for something, you can see that play out into the price action there. And to compare alongside this, right, we can use something called Heikin Ashi. Now, this isn't like perfect by any means. If you were trying to understand like what's going on, and particularly if you're trying to like find exact notes in the technical analysis, trying to find like support lines and resistance lines, it can work like that, but it's best to use like the normal candles. Find a line up exactly. The way that Heikin Ashi works is, I mean, like there's something of a loose formula to it, and you can look it up. But the point to be made about it is that it functions in the same sort of sense that a momentum indicator does. It's just that it changes the candles themselves so you can see this pattern more clearly in a more clear sense. It's not absolute by any means, but you can kind of see it. And the point to be made about this is that it can sometimes clarify what we were looking at like before, which like you can see how there's a mixture here, right? Sometimes it's, you're gonna see some red ones here, that sort of thing. You see a mixture. Heikin Ashi can help clarify that. All green, right? And the understanding that you would have of like how bullish is it is if there is a large body here and a short wick up above, like short wick up above, and the reverse, the same is true for the reverse, right? It's very bearish when there is a larger body here, right, and a long wick down below, where it's like this. Like I said before, along like doji, you can kind of see that here. Right, there's indecision there. Smaller bodies, smaller wicks. You're waiting to see it plan out and see what happens. This is a general sort of thing, but you can see this. And if we go to the SPY, right, you can see before versus after. There's mostly on a sort of macro-ish sort of level, there's much more green than you see red. The reverse is true now. There's much more red than green, right? And you can still have these rip your face off rallies, as they are called in a bear market, right? Like just recently, which has a couple different purposes of why that happens, to try to particularly lull those who are ignorant in a general sense, like just unaware about the market or valuations. To be able to get sucked into it to start buying when there is the general sort of plan by market makers, people with a lot of money, to be selling because they're actually aware of what's going on. So these rip your face off rallies, it's to be able to get the fastest like shock of exuberance and excitement into the markets to show like, hey, no, look, come on, you're gonna miss it. FOMO, it's very real. And then you get people who are trapped because then this shit happens and it might do this, for a short time and then continue, and then you're fucked. It's exactly what happened for 1929. Same thing. We're just seeing history play out over and over again. It's been going on for hundreds of years. The tulip bulb, right, in Scandinavia, I think it was a Dutch phenomena, that sort of thing. In Denmark over there or something like that. But yeah, so classic sort of thing. And then just to close out on a few recommended analysts, we watched Steve Miller here. His name is Steve Miller, right? And then there's another one. I'll go ahead and write their names out. But yeah, there's just a couple of recommended analysts that I would have for you guys. You'll keep an eye out. They know their stuff. Some of them have like actual degrees. Other ones are just like very famous because like they tend to get things right and they see things that other people don't. Like figuring out money. He's a really wealthy guy. It's kind of actually the funny thing. Like he makes a lot of money off like the courses he sells and shit, and he still goes through with these videos, which is nice. So the other guy, right, Stephen Van Meter, and then figuring out money. Those two guys. And then, here, I'll write the other one. all these guys, and with a couple other people that I follow as well, they have like over 150 years of experience in the fucking market, and they're all of them. Particularly Stephen Van Meter, he works for like a private firm, pretty well off guy too, still does his stuff. He looks at like the larger economic news and shit, and he's just been like hammering the same sort of message that's been very obvious that we're in a bad place, like economically. The world is not okay. There's like a number, if you look at China, it's having a real estate market crash right now, like a crisis, because like Evergrande and shit, and then there was a bunch of other cockroaches, which is very, very similar and resembles a lot of what happened to us during the Great Financial Crisis. I think we're gonna look back on history and see Evergrande as being the Lehman moment over in China. And it's because we found a lot of other cockroaches, because Evergrande was huge and they were doing a lot of abusive shit. And of course, if they are, with all the power and ability they have and influence, I bet a lot of other people are, and that's being found out now. So that's it. That's all I had for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.